From BBC Radio Scotland, this is Sports Sound.
Don't be stupid, boys. Turn off Clyde, support your side.
I would like to leave this city. This old town don't smell too pretty, and I can feel the warning signs running around my mind. And when I leave this island, I book myself into a soul asylum, 'cause I can feel the warning signs running around my mind. So here I go, I'm still scratching around in the same old hole. My body feels young, but my mind is very old. So what do you say? You can't give me the dreams that are mine anyway. I've been lost, I've been found, but I don't feel bad.
That's not bad. That's Griffiths! Lee Griffiths scores! And Celtic lead the derby! The early goal, Rangers credit! Chris Coleman shoots! Oh, stunning! Utterly stunning from Chris Coleman! That is why Celtic need to keep him! What a goal that was! It's 2-0.
Well, hopefully that whetted your appetite, folks. Good day, good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are in the world. You're listening to the Half the World Away Celtic podcast from Hail Hail Media. My name's Kevin O'Neill and I'm based in Mandurah in Western Australia, and I'm originally from Coatbridge. And as always, joined all the way over on the other side of the country in Melbourne, Victoria, is my good friend, and he's still the housewife's favourite, Mr. Patrick Close, originally from Airdrie. G'day, Pat.
Hello, Kevin. How are we?
G'day.
Do we have audio? Can anybody hear us? Can actually somebody, if anyone's listening, can you let us know if it's working or not? We're having a few Skype issues tonight, so forget about Pat the perfectionist nonsense. If it's not my fault, if Skype isn't working. Actually, probably is my fault. Yeah, it's Microsoft's fault. Dear Bill Gates. Anyway, how's it going, Kevin? You all happy? You all looking forward to the game and stuff for the weekend? Are you all excited?
I am. I'm getting a bit more excited the closer it's getting, I must admit. And a few weeks ago, I was maybe I wasn't really looking forward to it too much because of our poorish form, but I got a little boost after our decent performance against Motherwell last week. But we'll talk about that shortly, I guess. But I'm quite looking forward to it. The weekend is here and the build-up starts now as far as we're concerned, I suppose. So we've also on the line got a regular Mr. Liam Carrigan all the way up in Osaka, Japan. G'day, Liam. Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa, boys. How we doing?
Very good, sir. Very good. How you going, Liam?
Aye, pretty good. Got a new job since the last time I saw you.
You have got a new job, mate. I've seen that on Facebook, and you seem to be enjoying it, mate.
Aye, it's good. I'm working at a private girls' high school now, so it's pretty much a change from what I was doing before.
Whoa.
Very
Take a step back yet. Wait. Yes, say again. A girls' high school.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not joking here. My official job title is oral communication coach.
Oh my lord.
God.
So my job is to help Japanese high school girls improve their oral technique. That's official. I just want to say that.
Crying out loud. You kept that quiet on Facebook.
Of course I did, for God's sake.
Dear, oh dear.
Well, what a job. Do you do that job for nothing? Good on you, Liam. Fair play. He's got to commute 6 hours both ways. Does it for nothing.
I'd swap. You want to swap, Kid?
But he's still delighted.
Well, good career moving. Yeah, I saw the food was nice as well there, Liam, when you were.
Oh, aye, delicious.
Yeah, free high school dinner. Is it free school dinner? Was it?
Well, it's only 200 yen a day, so that's equivalent to having $1.50 Australian. So. Yeah.
I thought you were about to say all he eats is pie. But that's
steady.
So like a little bento box. Is that the sort of thing you get? They call them bento over here. So.
Aye.
Is that right?
I mean,
it's a little bento box with all different bits in it. No, it looks lovely. I like Japanese food.
Yeah, some of it's European. I mean, we got spaghetti bolognese yesterday. We got an Indian curry the day before that. I think it's a kind of a European menu they do, you know.
And so an Indian curry, it's a European dish, is it? Oh, that's new for me.
Well, you get it in Europe, don't you?
You may as well call it an Australian dish. It's everywhere. Yeah, but this isn't a food podcast. Come on, let's go on with it. It's hunt scalping weekend. Come on, get into it.
We were saying during the week as well, right? Nothing but talk about this game against Sevco on Sunday as well. Now we're talking about bento sets and stuff like that. Fantastic. Anyway, good to have you on, Liam. Now we don't have Martin Kelly with us tonight. Unfortunately, he's otherwise disposed, watching egg chasing or something in Melbourne tonight. Farcical game, but anyway, not to worry.
The rugby, that's an embarrassment, really. That's not price, is it? I'll tell you,
it's no way to prepare yourself for Sevco weekend.
Do you know what would just make it that just icing on the cake, Kev? See if he doesn't turn up for the game on Sunday. I'll tell you,
because he's at some other thing.
Oh, plucking his eyebrows or something.
I see you've got a new pub, but we'll talk about that later as well. New pub to watch at, a new venue.
Oh, and Kev, maybe potentially hot off the press. Potentially hot off the press. Your Mandurah boys might soon not be the newest sports club in Australia. But anyway, we'll come to that one a bit later.
I'll guess Darwin, maybe not Adelaide. Right,
I can't say my sources. Can't say anything, but plus you're breaking up as well.
Okay, so you. Okay, this could get canned. Very soon. Okay, so if you want to interact with us tonight, you can do so on Twitter. You can tweet us at @halftheworld88. That's @halftheworld88. Or you can leave comments in the speaker chat room as always, and we'll try and keep an eye on that as well and interact with you if we can, especially if we're struggling for material. But hopefully we won't be struggling for material, because as always, Liam kindly put together a little bit of a run sheet for us and a little agenda for us. Now, as I said, we're going to try and just talk exclusively about this preview, the build-up to Sunday's game against Sevco. But I guess the first thing up, and there's so many opinions flying around about this, but I think most Celtic fans are of a same opinion. If you ask the Scottish mainstream media, there's certainly a lot of different opinions in there, but who are we actually playing on Sunday, guys? Is it Sevco? Is it the Huns? Is it some tribute act? Is it Rangers FC, Sevco 5088, the Zombies?
Sevco Scotland.
What? Sevco Scotland. Who are we actually playing on Sunday? And what about this old firm banter that still goes on as well? Does it exist? So, Liam, in your honest opinion, who is this team that we're facing on Sunday?
This is a new upstart team, 3 years old, and quite frankly, most of their fans act like 3-year-olds, so that's quite appropriate. No, I'm sorry. If they want their history, they can pay the debt that goes with it. And since they're not even going to acknowledge the debt, they're a new club. Call them Sevco, call them what you want, but it's definitely not the Rangers that we used to enjoy scalping on a regular basis.
Yes, here to that. Have you got any different views, Pat? I notice sometimes you do refer to them as Rangers.
The Rangers.
On occasion.
The Rangers. So. I think the best way to we forget about all the mocking of, zombies and all that sort of stuff. Tribute act is probably the best way of describing them, isn't it? Because that's kind of what they are. They're just they're just this entity that's remembering the days of yore, all that sort of stuff. So yeah,
they're like Elvis. They're like Elvis impersonators, Elvis impersonators, kind of idea.
Actually, somebody posted on a Facebook thing the other day. I'm maybe going to try and find it about what was it again? It was something along the lines of it's think of it if your wife died. What was it? Did anyone see that one? Your wife died and you married her sister. You know, and she changed, and she looked a little bit like your wife, and you know, it was something.
And you try to say she's the same person.
Yeah, I just found it. It was on ours. So a guy called Steve McGowan on Facebook. I have no idea who Steve McGowan is. Celtic Rangers, the Rangers explained. It's like having a wife who's a dirty orange bastard. The wife dies after contracting AIDS through cheating and passes away. 4 years later, 4 years later, you marry her sister who looks identical to her, and she changes her name to her dead sister's. You live in the same house, you sleep in the same bed with her, and you even have the same in-laws as before. But you know deep down, it's just not the same.
There you go. Very well put.
Whoever Steve McGowan is on Facebook. It was shared with one of the guys in our club, Steve Yennis. So yeah, quite funny. That made me laugh today. So absolute gold.
Great analogy though. Great analogy. One we can all relate to, I think.
Yep. I like the bit.
But I mean,
she dies. She's after contracting AIDS, but she's still an orange bastard. Anyway.
I mean, in terms of I still, I'll usually refer to them as Sevco. That's kind of how they were introduced originally, and I've kind of stuck with that one, I guess. But the thing that annoys me, and certainly in reading bits and bobs on the internet, obviously over the last few days in the run up, is still this constant referral to the old firm. Sometimes you'll see the odd article it mentions it's a Glasgow derby and things like that, but this old firm thing just getting bagged up again. And I was looking. I never ever look at the bloody record, but I thought because I've seen a few posts from some mates back home on Facebook and getting riled about the way the Scottish mainstream media are just building them up into something that they're actually not. If you dust down everything and just look at it with a little bit of balance, they're the top team of a lower division. That's all they are. They're no better than that. But the way they're getting built up, it's as if they really are. They are something, and there's going to be a massive upset if you were led to believe it. But this old firm thing that they still keep peddling, that's the thing that annoys me more than anything. What's your thoughts on the old firm description, Neil?
Well, see, to be honest, even before they died, I wasn't comfortable with the old firm thing.
Oh, I would agree
because
with
of
that.
the idea of guilt by association. You know, I saw those like Manchester 2006, right? The British news report, 6 o'clock news, whatever, was like Scottish football fans rioting. It's like, no, Huns rioting. Don't fucking bring us into it. You know, it's like, and then when you hear all these people talking about sectarianism and whatever, it's always the old firm, this, the old firm. It's like, no, Rangers. Don't drag us down with them. That's the thing that really annoys me, you know. Now we've got our lunatic fringe as well. We can't deny that, right? But we are nowhere near as bad as they are. And I still maintain that.
I would agree with that.
But again, the media don't want to actually have to talk about them as separate issues. So it's all too convenient for them just to say, oh, well, it's the old firm. They're both just a bunch of nutters, you know. It's lazy journalism. And that's what, as a journalist myself, that's what pisses me off, you know. Yeah.
I mean, Pat, your thoughts on the old firm, or the term the old firm?
I've said this several times, that to me it's a convenient way of not saying Celtic and Rangers or Rangers and Celtic. I think that's why they use it. I don't think it's anything to do with the historical fact of it. I think it's the fact that if somebody says Rangers and Celtic are playing this weekend, instantly you say Hun. If you say Celtic are playing Rangers this weekend, you go Tim. So therefore, you just use
it's the Glasgow derby. It's a Glasgow derby this weekend.
Yeah.
Because let's not forget, this is the second. I guess the Glasgow derby, Celtic, Partick Thistle. That's the two big teams in Glasgow right now that play that fixture. So this is a secondary Glasgow derby, I suppose.
You rank Sevco above Clyde then, do you?
Well, they moved to Cumbernauld, didn't they?
Fair point. Aye, right.
That's just a suburb of Glasgow,
Queen's
isn't it?
Park.
Okay?
If Queen's Park, sorry.
Cumbernauld is just a suburb of Glasgow, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
That's like saying Coatbridge and Airdrie's a suburb of Glasgow.
Shut it. I'm trying to have a little dig there. Shut up.
East Kilbride.
Oh, here we go. Let's not talk about East Kilbride. Jesus. That's another story. Anyway, Paul Rush in the chat room says it's none of that stuff above. It's the Scum versus Celtic. It's not for them.
The Scum, well, yes, we can have that, Paul. We'll give you that.
No, but Scum is occasionally productive if you use it the right way.
I'm sure it could be. In the right hands. Right, so I think we've pretty much put that one to bed then as far as we're concerned. There's no reference to the former club as far as we're concerned. It's just that it's a new team we're playing. And I had a little titter to myself the other night as well when I read somebody had put on that what they've done since they were formed and they've come up through the leagues, it still doesn't beat what Gretna did either, because Gretna managed to get up in successive promotions. They couldn't even do that. So that's they're not even going to be the first Scottish team ever to do that. Gretna beat them to it. Let's hope this tribute act go the same way as Gretna did as well. It'd be quite good.
Kev, but see, they've won a trophy we've never won before, or we will never win.
The Petrofac Training, whatever. What's it called? The Petrofac Training Cup. And I honestly don't even know. I know they won it at the weekend. Couldn't tell you who they played. Don't know what the score was, but I know they won it. That's how much I've been reading about them this particular week.
It was Peter Heath.
But anywho,
Kev.
Peter Heath.
Wasn't it?
Peter Heath's got a fucking Peter Reid's got a fucking monkey's head. Remember that one?
I didn't. Someone that was mentioned. I actually read that the other day. I'd never heard of that one before, but I know the one you're talking about.
You do. Anywho, what about now? Something else we were going to talk about. This may be slightly different. I don't know, but if we think back to the old club, and Pat, you had mentioned this a few weeks ago to have a think about it, and you want to talk about memories of our first Celtic Rangers football club game that we ever attended years ago, and I will be honest, I could not think what my very first game was that I attended. I'd watched plenty on the TV before I actually ever went along to one of them, because I wasn't allowed to go to them, was the God's honest truth. I was kept away from them. But when I was a bit older, I got along to see one. But what was because you were building this up, Pat, and I says save it for the podcast. So what was your first memories and your first of going along to a Celtic versus the former Rangers football club?
Well, I did actually bookmark this somewhere and I can't find it. I'm thinking, I know it was 1982, and so keep in mind, and I don't know if I'm ashamed to say this or not, but I used to be an Airdrie supporter. My hometown team I used to support. So anyway, I remember I was kind of converted to become a Celtic fan, and my uncle took us to the game. I was actually thinking this just the other day that now bear in mind I'd have been 11 years old, and I've got no idea how my mother actually let me get away with some of these things, but before my first ever concert was probably not long before that, and it was an Iron Maiden concert. I was a metalhead, so Iron Maiden was my first ever concert. And
did you have the hair to go with it?
Oh no, I've got shit hair. My hair grows up the way, not down the way. It was more like an afro than anything else. But anyway, and my mother let me and my best pal Gordon Martin, he lived right across the road from us, and our parents let us, the two of us, as 10 and 11-year-olds, go to an Iron Maiden concert ourselves at the Glasgow Apollo.
Change days. That's when you could leave your front door open and all that.
It was it's kind of scary, really, if I think about it. So anyway, so that was like probably months before, I'm guessing. I've still got the ticket from the first Iron Maiden concert. But anyway, do you think my mother wouldn't let me go? She was panicking about me going to a Celtic Rangers game with my uncle and my cousin. So I've just found a date. So it was the 30th of October. Was it 30th of October? Yeah, 30th of October. So, it was. I do remember the kind of build up to it because we used to drive into the game, and there was a guy who used to drive Moncock. I can't even think of the guy's name, but he'd a sort of a company car. It was like an Escort, like it was XR3 or something like that. It was like a really fast kind of car. I'm used to go all over Scotland in this car. Like 5 of us crammed into this thing. We go to Kilmarnock, we go to Aberdeen in it, and I remember going to Aberdeen. It was pissing down with snow and the car sliding all over the road. It was fucking terrifying. But anyway, we still got up there. So I just remember, I don't know, like being that kind of buzz, not really knowing what to expect. I'd been to a fair few Celtic games by then. That was kind of when I'd started going, that 1982-83 season. But I'd never obviously experienced anything like that, So anyway, the other day I went and had a bit of a check up on it. So if you go to Celtic Wiki, you'll find it. So 1982, 30th of the 10th, Celtic 3, Rangers 2. And I vividly remember, I was in the Celtic end.
What year is this?
1982.
82.
Yeah, so I'd been 11 years old at that stage. And I remember Rangers scored early, and the bold Paddy Bonner, who scored for them? Robert Pritz, rings a bell. So Robert Pritz.
Oh, bloody hell.
Anybody remember that? I still remember the name, but he scored for them. I'm going to pull it up now, Celtic Wiki. I'm trying to find it now. Corner, basically put in a corner and Paddy Bonner punched it in the net. And that was, we were opposite side of the stadium. But anyway, so that was 1-0 to them. Celtic came back. I think we equalised at that point. Rangers scored again. I can't remember who scored the goal, but anyway. And then there was 2 goals that to this day I still remember as being not identical but very, very similar. First goal I should say of Celtic was Paul McStay. Basically did a big tackle in the middle of the park. I went and watched about the highlights. So broke up the play in the middle of the park, broke forward, played out to I guess it was McGarvey on the wing. The defender comes in, he's tried to play it back to the keeper. There's been a bit of a block. McStay's basically ran into an open goal, banged it in, and basically ran over the corner where me and my cousin were standing. I remember it was pissing down. It was absolutely hammering down. So that was basically so Rangers scored early. We scored not long after it. Then they scored. Looking at it, I just found it actually on Celtic Wiki. David Cooper scored the second one for them just before half time. 66th minute, Frank McGarvey scored the goal. Brooker, I still remember, broke away, slipped in his arse, kicked, hit with his left foot, and it trundled past the goalkeeper into the corner of the net. And then,
classic Frank McGarvey goal.
Classic. If you watch it, I should send it to you. But yeah, classic Frank McGarvey on his arse, boom. And then in the 87th minute, so I didn't even realise it was this late in the game, but Murdo McLeod broke through, kind of similar kind of move, broke through, left foot, bottom corner of the goal, absolute fucking screamer. Now what I didn't realise, when I was reading one of these articles, and again I'm just going to find with the article, and I actually didn't even know that until the other day when I read this, but so this is from, I don't know what newspaper. What newspaper does it say? It doesn't say what it's from. So anyway, it's by Hugh Taylor, whatever newspaper this was. Lighthouse shines at Parkhead. And this is a bit that made me laugh. As there were 72 arrests for violence at Parkhead and 12 people taken to hospital, it would be absurd to believe that the Celtic Rangers match has been liberated from the grip of ancient hatreds and I can't even see that word, sectarianism. Yet the exhilarating play and the sportsmanship of the players combined to present a masterpiece. Britain's biggest crowd of the season, 60,408, saw Celtic win narrowly in a fascinating game. Has been played even in the long history of Old Firm. Oh, there you go, Old Firm encounters. Old Firm with lowercase o and f. So anyway, I'm now I realise why my mother was panicking about me going to Celtic Rangers.
So how many? So go over those stats in terms of violence and arrests.
72 arrests and 12 people taken to hospital. That's just
there you are.
Exactly, there you are.
1982. Alistair Jack says that right enough, it was McLeod got the winner. So that was Paul McStay's first game ever against the Huns actually. So right, I think I do remember seeing footage of that. I do not remember the game at all though, but I remember seeing old clips of it.
Yep. So that was my first ever. But it's it was brilliant. I just remember it was pissing down rain. I remember being really excited about it. I remember getting absolutely soaked because we were at the front of the Celtic end, obviously no cover. And the goals, I still remember the goals vividly this day. I still remember McStay running over. Oh, was it that goal? Am I getting mistaken with something else? No, he ran over to where we were. And I just remember my cousin just, the same thing you do at games when with that sort of excitement. Just grab whoever's near you and start celebrating.
And Shay, does anybody know the Airdrie score? Is that what you shouted?
No, that was well at the back of my mind those days. Jesus, it didn't take me long to be hooked. Put it that way.
I'm glad,
Yes.
mate. And you've turned out the better man for it, Patrick.
Yes,
It could have been so much different, mate. You could have been doing Section B podcasts from Melbourne town if you hadn't have seen the light.
I'm going to try and read. I'm going to try and read some of the Celtic team here. This is I was going to say I could name some of them, but Paddy Bonner in goals, Danny McGrain right back, Mark Reid at left back. Remember Mark Reid?
I do.
I used to like Mark Reid actually. Roy Aitken, Tom McAdam in the centre. Oh, sorry,
Reid the Bear.
Graham Sinclair.
Oh, Graham Sinclair. He
Signed
was
from
never
Dumbarton.
much of a player, that boy, but
Sinky. Yep, Sinky. My brother played with him. My brother used to play with Dumbarton. Davy Provan, Paul McStay, Frank McGarvey, Murdo McLeod, and Charlie Nick. Magnificent
Nick.
stuff.
Fantastic. Great lineup apart from Graham Sinclair.
Yeah, he was alright.
Good memories then, Pat. But I mean, how vivid is that, or is it because you've managed to dig out footage of it, you remember it?
No.
How vivid is it?
I remember the goals. I don't remember the second Rangers goal. I remember Bonner punching the ball in the net. It probably wasn't actually. If you go back and look at it, it was probably the defender. It probably not. But at that time, it was the bits you could see from the other end. Was that
for fuck's sake, Packy? Was it one of those moments? For fuck's sake, Packy.
Yeah, it looked bad at the time, and when you look back in the video, it's still pretty, bad. But no, I remember. I just remember the lights as well, because it was a dark, kind of rainy day. I remember the lights being on. I mean, bear in mind, as a young boy, going up to the stadium, you never thought you'd experience that kind of, just that crowd and the buzz and
the size of crowd. Yeah, definitely in the old stadium as well. That size of crowd was pretty decent.
Yeah, and the celebrations, just the fact that because I've been to a few games towards the season before, towards the end of the season before is when I started going. That's when it was. Last few games of that season, and then but not seeing celebrations. I mean, celebrations, yeah, when the team scores goals, but not the 87th minute, Murdo McLeod against the Huns. I mean, really, does it get any better? You know what I mean? So I just remember people I guess the passion of it. You don't really savour it at the time. You just want to be part of it. You just want to be, everyone else is celebrating. You want to be part of it too. So, but no, I remember it.
And if you could pick one defining moment of that day, what would it be? Or your defining memory of that particular day, what would it be?
Probably McStay running through in the goal, because it's one of those ones where if you watch the highlights, you literally couldn't miss. He was like, at the 6-yard line. And just, I guess because it was early. It was early in the game. They'd sort of taken the lead. Just probably that, but and then probably the winning goal was the one that kind of stood out, because probably you were semi-conscious of the fact that it was late in the game and it was going to be pretty hard to win it. So I still remember. Yeah, I didn't have to watch the video to remember the Celtic goals. I remember the second and the third were kind of not identical. If I sent you the highlights, you'd know what I mean. It was basically two left foot shots, same bottom corner they landed in, same goal. McGarvey, as I said, he was falling his arse, slid in the mud, and the lights, probably as much the lights in that as well. I mean, people of our generation would remember walking
in those days, didn't they? They do.
Yeah.
I know we're slagging about it. Yeah, we're slagging about the. There's a lot of talk about the Hampden pitch ahead of Sunday's game and stuff like that as well. But when you look at the pitches that we used to play on for the majority of our season, back in the day, they were absolute quagmires, weren't they?
Yep.
Some of them were absolutely ridiculous.
I'll tell you one thing I do remember. I remember, I don't know your thoughts. I know he's a bit of a hun and stuff like that. But Davy Cooper, I was always terrified of Davy Cooper, because he was a for anyone who didn't see him, he was a brilliant player. He was a brilliant player.
He was,
and I remember being absolutely terrified about Davy Cooper's playing today. But I do remember Danny McGrain just taking him to the cleaners.
You're breaking up, Pat. Right, okay.
I just remember, I remember Danny McGrain just had him in his back pocket. So that's exactly what I remember, because I was over that sort of side of the ground when he's sort of running at the players and stuff. You know what I mean? So he was running at McGrain, and more often than not, McGrain would beat him, and get the ball and go and take it the other way. So I can remember just little snippets like that. But It's quite sad because I used to keep my tickets and programs and all that sort of stuff from around then, but I've still got the program, and it's all kind of soggy wet because it was pouring down rain. I can't find my ticket though, but anyway, still got the program from that day.
A good memory. You've just thought this has got nothing to do with Celtic Sevco or Celtic former Rangers either, but just when you mentioned there a classy player, a classy winger coming up for us, who was a fantastic right back, one of Celtic's greatest ever players as well, Danny McGrain, but you just made me think on a memory that I've got from a fantastic footballer winger, Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo, playing with Man United. But this right back of Celtic had him in his pocket for the whole entire 90 minutes at Celtic Park. Can you think who that right back was? The entire 90 minutes, Ronaldo hardly caused us an ounce of trouble this particular Champions League game.
Paul Telfer.
Oh, Telfer, it was.
Hey,
right. Incredible. He had an incredible performance, just snuffed him out. That's a memory I had of that game. But anyway, no, it just sprung to mind.
Get this.
Throw that in there.
Get this, Kev. Alistair Jack has just tweeted the Mark Reed that we were just talking about.
Oh, there you go.
So,
fair play.
So yes,
very
if
good.
You ever listen to this, Mark Reed? Yeah, I thought it was a great player, but anyway. Oh, I did. I genuinely thought it was a good player.
I hope Alistair Jack doesn't start tweeting Graham Sinclair after me slagging the poor guy. And if you've got him as a follower, Alistair, don't bother tweeting it at all. Leave the poor guy alone. Right, okay. So, Liam, what about yourself then? What was your memories of can you remember your very first Celtic Rangers FC game, former club, that you attended?
Well, it's funny because the first team game that I saw was 2001. I think it was February. Really ugly, scrappy game. We beat them 1-0 at Parkhead. Alan Thompson scored the winner.
I remember that. I remember that game.
Yeah.
That was on a hammer to them, actually. He was a real thorn in their side.
Aye. But I remember about 7 or 8 years before that, when I was just a boy, I was about 12 or something. Yeah. There was the game. Was it 93 or 94? The game where there was the lockout. We weren't allowed in the.
John Collins with the Predator boots.
Aye.
That game.
So on that same day, we played the Huns reserves at Celtic Park, and there was about maybe a 25,000 crowd.
Aye, there was a massive crowd there. I was there as well.
And I don't know if you remember the funny bit of that. I think we beat them 4-0. We beat them 4-0. Chris Hay scored all 4 of them. I remember that.
What the hell?
But at half time, Fraser Wishart was playing for them.
Right.
And there was some band. Who was it? It might have been Charlie and the Boys. There was some band was playing at half time, and they were playing Arf and Rye. And as the Rangers team came on for the second half, they were still playing, and they went, "This one's for Fraser Wishart, former convener of the Glasgow University Celtic Supporters Club."
Oh, for God's sake!
And then it turns out one of these guys went to university with him, and right enough, he was the convener of the Celtic Supporters Club in Glasgow Uni.
What the hell?
Ian Ferguson looked. The Fraser Wishart. Ian Ferguson looked at him like he was going to fucking kill him. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen on a football pitch.
That's mad. I was at. Do you know what? I was at that very game that you're talking about, but I could not have told you what the score was at that reserve game because we were all listening to the radio, of course, for the other game at the time, and that's where my mind was. And the thing I remember more about that, other than standing in the Celtic end at that reserve game, was seeing the pictures of Johnny Collins, Predator boot, bend the ball round the wall, goal on the telly later that night. That was incredible. It was that was quite surreal. That particular fixture because of the ban right enough. But yeah, great memory.
That was actually the.
Do you want to know where I was for that game? I bet you £1 million you couldn't get
Broomfield.
No, even more bizarrely. I used to have a bit of a soft spot, for Scarborough Football Club. And I was in
You've
Carlisle.
got plenty of soft spots. Airdrie, Dundee United, Scarborough.
I was in Carlisle watching Scarborough and Carlisle playing when John Collins scored that goal and celebrating in 2,000 people or something at the game. In the little section of 30 Scarborough fans jumping up and down, and people just looking at me going, "What the hell is this guy about?" So, yes,
surreal memory, mate. Surreal memory.
So this is the one where the free kick, the bend around the wall. He got the new boots.
Yeah, the Predator,
people are raving about the new
boots. That was it.
Oh, well,
that's right. Everybody wanted a pair of the Predator boots. So, what was your defining memory for that one then, Liam? Was it the Fraser Wishart? Comment.
The Fraser Wishart, but just because it was so funny, I remember that. But the funny thing is, like the first time I saw us play the Huns proper was actually the third time that I'd seen a Celtic and Rangers game, if you want to put it that way, because I remember a couple of weeks before we stopped to 10 in a row.
Yeah,
there was the Glasgow Cup final, which was played at Broadwood. With me living in Cumbernauld at the time, it was just down the road for me.
Yeah.
So we went to that game, and the Huns beat us 3-0, right? But I remember two things for that day. One, John Bomber Brown, of all people, went up a lot in my estimation that day. Right. Because he was the coach of the Huns under-18s at that time. And my dad was trying to kind of teach me good... I was about 14 at the time. He was trying to teach me good sportsmanship. You know, he was like, no, son, stay here. Applaud them off the pitch. They played well. So I'm standing there applauding. Yeah. But I'm wearing my hoops, right? And I'm applauding as the Huns are coming off. And there's a few Rangers fans running about us. Are like, fair play to you, well, because everybody's sitting in together. Because it's a kids' game, right?
Yeah.
And that fucking bastard Bob Malcolm, who was playing for the Huns that day. No, Bob Malcolm. Barry Nicholson, Barry Nicholson, sorry. Right. He starts singing fucking hello, hello. Right? Bomber fucking smacked him round the back of the... He just about knocked him off his feet and dragged him by the ear up the tunnel. And he's like, that's out of order. That's not what you do here, you know.
Fair enough.
So, fair play to John Brown, right? But the funny bit of that was driving out the stadium after... have you been to Broadwood before?
Yes, I have, aye.
Right. You know when you're in the car and you come out of Broadwood, there's like this kind of slope you have to drive up to get to the roundabout to then go out, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's a kind of traffic backed up at this roundabout, right? So we're going up. And so my dad's got the fucking rebel music playing full pelt, right? As I'm sitting in the car, going up, but we're kind of stopped, right? And there's these two Huns walking past us. They're going into the underpass to go and get the bus, right? They're walking past us, and two of them start fucking growling at us and like shouting stuff, right? Yeah. And my dad just rolls down the window. And it's one of them, he must have just hit a nerve with this guy, because the guy totally reacted, right? He just went, away and work, you big fat orange bastards. Because, you had a job, you would be so fucking fat, would you? Look at you fucking tango, man, right? And the guy just fucking reared up, but he was on to square go. At which point, the most bizarre thing happened. There was a Polish who was one of us.
Oof.
The Polish the Polish just leaned in the window and said, drive on, son, the bastard's no worth it.
What the hell?
So there's my dad 10 minutes earlier telling me don't be a bigot, then he's calling somebody an orange bastard 10 minutes later.
Hurling abuse at the guy out the window.
I've got to say, Liam, I don't share your I guess likeness or fondness, I guess, of John Brown. I remember a game, I don't know what game it was, but it was in the old enclosure at IPOX. Remember they used to get the enclosure down the front, and Rangers scored, and he was a left back. And I remember because he was running back towards the Rangers end. They just scored the goal, and he's basically doing the whole fist pump right along the touchline in front of the Celtic fans, giving it, little gestures into the crowd and stuff like that. I still remember that to this day. So absolutely no fondness for that guy at all in the slightest.
I do remember when John Brown had a tendency, when he was playing with Dundee, he had a tendency to score against the Huns, actually. I do remember I was listening to there was a game on. I was at my granny's at the time in Cairnhill, and I remember this. And Dundee beat the Huns or something. John Brown definitely scored a winner or something like that. He certainly scored in the game. I don't know, he might have bagged two. But I always remember that John Brown, man, he always scores against Rangers. Then sure enough, ended up signing for him. But John Brown will always be famous for Where's the Deeds. That's about as much as you need to think about Bomber Brown.
Kev, from Liam's running list, or that maybe one of the little segments for later on. Maybe you should save that one.
What was that? The deeds? Deeds?
Your favourite moments? Your little laugh.
That's...
I've
given mine away, because that is one of my favourites, actually, that whole little spiel. But anyway, see, in terms of mine, I had to, as I said earlier on, I had to really think, because I'd been going to Celtic games I only really started going to Celtic games in about 86 or something like that, because we used to live in, for all I was born in Coatbridge, lived in Airdrie till I was about 7 or something like that, and then we moved to a wee place called Biggar in South Lanarkshire for 7 years. My mum and dad thought we'd move down there, get away from the rat race of Coatbridge in Airdrie, and we go to a quiet little sleepy town. They bought a licensed grocer shop and they thought they'd make their millions down there. Never quite turned out that way, and it was a wee orange hole. So we ended up coming back. We came back to Coatbridge. So this was, by this time, this was about 86 or something. So all that time I was down in Biggar, you'd honestly be as well living in Australia at the time, because hardly ever came back through at all, because it was like 30 miles away and it seemed like a lifetime away. But so it wasn't until we moved back to Coatbridge in about 86, I think it was. So that's when I started going to the games. In earnest, got my season ticket and all that carry on when I used to do the Celtic pools. But as I said earlier, I went to all the games, but I didn't go to the Rangers games at all at the time, just because they were too scary, and it was always built up that it was too much trouble, son. You'll end up, there's always trouble at these, and you could die, basically, was the way it was always portrayed to me. So I never got to them. So I had to fast forward to roughly where I thought it was going to be. I honestly couldn't remember my first game, but then when I found it, I went just through the Celtic website and I found it, and I thought that was definitely the game. And I can't remember much about it other than, and it was the defining memory for me, because it's the only real memory I've got of this particular game. I'm sure if I dug it out now, and there will be highlights of it on YouTube, I'm sure, somewhere, it'd bring back some memories. But it was the people of this certain age must remember the double header. It was the St Patrick's Day massacre and the Palm Sunday humiliation. It was the Scottish Cup game it was St Patrick's Day. It was the 17th of March 1991 was my first Celtic Rangers game. And I was in the old jungle, and Darius Dovcik scored a screamer of a free kick, but it took a wicked deflection off Terry Hurlock, a player that we all loved to hate at the time as well, one ugly bastard of a man, and it went screaming into the roof of the net, and the place went absolutely mental. But that is the only memory I have got of that particular game. Jerry Craney get the other goal, but I can't even remember that goal. I'm sure if I saw a highlight of it or something like that, I'd remember it. But that was my first Celtic Rangers game. I've got the team in front of me here as well. See, I was well prepared for this part. It was Packy Bonner in goal, Darius Dovcik, obviously the goal scorer, Anton Rogan, Peter Grant, Paul Elliott, my second favourite centre half ever at Celtic. Or second best, I would say. Behind, Virgil van Dijk. Derek White, wee Joe Miller, Paul McStay, Tommy Coyne, Jerry Craney and John Collins. A pretty decent team in those days. So yeah, that was my memory. And
Kev, I'm going to take a punt here, right? Because I remember there's one Jerry Craney goal against the Huns that stands out for me. A long punt from somebody. Coyne. Did you say Coyne was playing? Tommy Coyne.
Coyne was playing.
Coyne nodded it on, and he hit it sort of in a half volley into the keeper's right. I bet you anyone, if that's the one you're talking about.
That was the goal, because I remember the game. I remember watching it in the telly.
Yep, absolutely. I remember.
Dovcik takes the free kick. Coyne flicks it on at the edge of the penalty area, and then Craney volleys it in.
Yep.
I remember it clearly.
Yeah, I do.
I'm sure I'll find it on YouTube later.
I was in the jungle that day. I still remember. I've got my ticket for that.
I so was that. That's what I was,
so, yes,
mate.
I remember.
But that was.
I think I still remember the Dobchik goal. In my memory, it's he's hit it from the halfway line. I think every year I got older.
Ridiculous distance. It was a ridiculous distance out. I still honestly reckon it was about maybe 40 yards out, 30 yards out, let's say. But it was miles out because Terry Hurley it took the deflection off Hurlock.
Right.
And he was quite a bit out as well. That was the thing. He was quite a bit out. So. But it was a cracker. But funnily enough, I've got more memories of the week after the Palm Sunday humiliation because at the time I had a Sunday job at B&Q at Coat Dyke, and I managed to get the day off for the St Patrick's Day massacre, but because I had got that day off, they wouldn't let me take the following Sunday off, so I had to choose which one I wanted to go to. So I went to that game because it was a Scottish Cup tie. But I remember that I was working while the game was actually on, the Palm Sunday humiliation, and I was out the back in the garden centre, and it was a sunny day. It was a nice sunny day, I remember, because I was out the back in the garden centre sweeping up. And there was quite a few Celtic fans worked in B&Q at the time, but they kept just checking on the scores and stuff like that came out. And I think it was 3-0 the week after.
It was.
Sunday humiliation. Well, I just check here. I've got it in front of me. Where is it? 3-0 it was, in the Premier League. There we go. Sunday the 24th of March. But that was my memory of that particular game. It wasn't the goals as such. It was me sweeping outside so that I could try and keep up to date with the scores. And it was funny though, because it was one of those games, I would have loved to have been at that one as well. But see just the joy of smashing them again, 2 weeks in a row, absolutely hammering them and just going away. And in those days, you were just looking forward to seeing the highlights. You couldn't wait to see the highlights, because there wasn't the TV saturation coverage that there is now, of course. But that was just a brilliant couple of weeks. And it wasn't long, of course, after that you got the old T-shirts. Remember, you always used to get the T-shirts down Springfield Road when you were going to the games, and there'd be all the Bart Simpsons pissing on a Rangers top and stuff like that. And I always remember I had a St Patrick's Day massacre and Palm Sunday humiliation T-shirt. I might still have it somewhere, actually. I might have it in a bag somewhere. But that was a great memory. It was it was funny because when you had suggested we should try and think back on that part, it was quite an interesting I spent a little bit of time looking back and reminiscing again. But that was my first, they were my first memories of going to that game, and then the Palm Sunday humiliation afterwards. It was a great times, mate, great times. But they were some few and far between, right?
Went on YouTube, Kev, and I've got as far that goal that I was talking about, the Jerry Craney one. That was the volley.
Yeah. There you go.
Tommy Coyne nodded it on. And yeah, the Darius Dobchik one probably was the best part of 40 yards out. That's how far it was. Probably close at the halfway line it was to their goal. But Peter Grant sent off. It just got to that point. Tried to run out basically.
The Huns got 3 men sent off as well, I remember.
Yeah. Well, look at this. This is a 6-minute highlight thing, and there was a free kick to Rangers about as I guess probably about 25 yards out. I don't know who was taking it, but Peter Grant, before the ball's even been kicked, he's broke away from the wall, and I would say at most he's 5 yards away from the guy as he's kicked the ball. He's obviously been booked before, so he's got a second booking and sent off. I've just seen Terry Hurlock get sent off for.
Alistair's he's in the chat room as well. He's confirmed the highlight of that game. He says was that Mark Haitley, Mark Walters, and Hurlock all walked in that game as well. So it was unbelievable times. But they were the memories of the former club that died in 2012, guys.
Yeah,
no longer with us.
Just seen Terry Hurlock. Tommy Coyne just bumped into him and he's lashed out with an elbow, spanked him in the head.
A stereotypical animal. That was him. Always a player that.
Mark Walters.
If I remember right, when when Hateley gets sent off, there's a cracking close-up about 4 or 5 wee boys in Selkend all giving him the Vicky as he's getting sent off. if I remember it correctly.
Is that the one he's doing? He's doing the cigar thing when he's like as if is that the same one? I haven't got that bit yet, but is that when?
I'm not sure. I can't remember that, but I think that might have been a different game.
He's doing the cigar as if he's smoking a cigar stuff when he's walking off. So anyway, aye, happy days, great days, Kev, great days.
Great days, mate, great days. No, but well, in terms of, I suppose we'll start looking ahead towards a second ever fixture against this mob now, because it's building up nicely. I think the atmosphere, even over here. I don't know what it's like in Osaka for yourself, Liam, or if you can get involved in it, but there's certainly been quite a bit of talk over here with our local club and the Perth CSC as well. It's amazing the number of people that come out the woodwork because of this fixture on Sunday. We've got a tiny wee club in Mandurah, of course, as I think you know, but and we'll usually get about 8 or 9 people in the pub to watch the game at the weekend. But I think there's going to be quite a few more than that on Sunday, certainly, in Murphy's watching it. But up in Perth, they're getting absolutely inundated with requests. People coming out the woodwork left, right and centre, and you've got to be a member to get into Rosie O'Grady's in Perth on Sunday, or you can't see it. But they've got to really do that just because of the demand so high, and they've got limited capacity. So there's going to be hundreds in Rosie O'Grady's on Sunday for that game. In Western Australia, it's a 7 p.m. kick-off, which is a fantastic time, a Sunday evening. So even if you're there's a few of our guys are taking the Monday off work, but I've thought it's early enough that I should still be able to get out, have a few beers, enjoy the game, enjoy a victory hopefully, and then get home and be fresh enough for work the next day. But it's building up the atmosphere over here, that's for sure. And it should be a cracker. But Liam, what about yourself? What's your plans to see the game? Are you going to be able to see it? Will it be televised in Japan? What's the goal with it?
It's a funny thing. I'm going to be getting it over the internet because I don't think any TV will actually show it here. But
it just shows you how small this fixture is, right enough, and what small and meaningless.
So I'll pick up an internet feed. But what we're doing actually is it's going to be a nice wee night because I've got a mate here who suffers from the unfortunate disability of being a Sevconian.
Oh my God.
So he and I agreed to watch the game together.
Oh my,
that's terrible.
But to keep it fair, we're going to watch it on a neutral venue. So we're going to the house of a mutual friend of ours who's got a big telly, who is an English guy who loves his cricket and his Pims, and he's not remotely fucking interested in the Celtic Rangers game. So it's the perfect neutral venue for us, It'll
be quite interesting. So this friend of yours, this Sevconian, I mean, is he? I take it he's a sensible Sevconian.
Okay, aye.
So what's his thoughts? Have you had a chance to have a blather with him about it? What's his thoughts about the game?
He's been keeping very quiet about it because I think he doesn't. I think he thinks that they're going to get humped.
Right.
He's one of them because he doesn't. He's not one of these sort of in your face Huns. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's a Rangers supporter, but he could just as easily. Yeah. He says he's Celtic. He could just as easily been a Celtic fan, but his dad was a Rangers fan, so he became a Rangers fan. It's like.
Yeah. Well, it's like us the other side. That's the way it goes, isn't it? It's
basically
you're born into it.
Aye.
Yeah, Liam,
Liam,
let's have a chat. He's a Sevconian. He's a dick. Right? He's not your friend. Right? He's a dick. Right? Just avoid him at all costs. Right? So there you go. There's a bit of advice from somebody a wee bit older than you. Right? He is a dick.
That's dreadful, Pat. You're lowering yourself to their standards.
The funny thing, actually, talking about we were talking about this in the pub a few weeks ago, right? Because I had a lot of issues with my last job before I started my new job, right? And my mate is a member of the same union that I'm in, right? So my two mates supported me really well, and I said it's ironic that in this being a SNP voting Celtic supporter, that in times of crisis my two biggest supporters have been a Hun and an Englishman.
There you go.
Aye.
There you go. Just shows you. Right, so in all the time you've been there, have you not come across any Celtic fans yet? I keep wondering about this when this Osaka CSC's starting up.
Is it
just
ago,
you're just not trying hard enough, Liam? Is that what it is? I don't know.
I think it's because over here they only hire fucking Huns, to be quite honest.
See, they're going the way the banks used to go in Scotland.
When I was in Tokyo, I had a couple of pints with the guys at the Tokyo CSC, but I couldn't get there for every game because it was the complete other side of town from where I lived. And Tokyo's huge, going from one side of Tokyo to the other was like going from Glasgow to Edinburgh, So it just wasn't feasible for me to go. I mean, I used to go there maybe once a month to see a game. Yeah. But I mean, I don't even know if they. I assume the boys are still going, but I've not actually been in Tokyo for about 7 or 8 years. So
yeah, I think they are, and I think I'd seen some kind of program. I thought, bloody dog, shut up, man. There was some program that I'd seen about the Tokyo CSC, and I think it was when Nakamura was at Celtic as well. So they did a little feature on him, and that's obviously when they were doing well, and Celtic was big news when Naka was playing with them. So
actually, think about it. Isn't there a guy? Liam, was there an Australian guy in that CSC, or a guy that was sent in Australia? Andrew something.
There was a couple of Andrews.
I'm sure it was Andrew.
I can't remember the second.
I'm fairly certain. Don't quote me on this, but remember, Kev, I used to do that mailing list thing. He used to send out an email.
Yes, you were the originator of the News Now
I was
idea.
Pioneer.
Pat Close, everybody. See, before News Now was invented, Pat Close did this years ago. I think the internet had just literally been invented. But Pat Close used to send me and Stevie Fallons, would come into work. This was when we were back in Scotland, of course. Come into work every morning, and there's Pat Close had sent us all these links to everything, all you needed to read about Celtic as a Celtic fan. Before News Now was even dreamt of, Pat Close had done it. Spent all his lunch hour doing it.
I used to come in early to work every single morning, and I mean every single morning. I'd be in there like an hour early. I'd go through and check. And bear in mind, this is in the day of dial-up. So I used to come in the morning and log on before anybody, because there's no subtle way of all that sort of stuff when your modem was connected, and it was literally, oh Jesus, it's painful if you think about it now. But yeah, I used to go through every single newspaper link, and I used to have a sniff of a Celtic story, and I used to copy and paste the links, and like a text version of what was in there, obviously, and I sent out, and it got so big. It got so big I had to end up having two mailing lists.
Well, everybody was wanting on the mailing list. That was the whole thing. And when you would send it on, you had it on a big enough mailing list, but then I'd be sending it on to everybody. I had an Erngobra CSC mailing list, so I'd forward it on to that as well. But it was brilliant because you didn't have to then trawl through looking for the stories yourself, the interesting stories, because you had the knack of being able to pick out all the ones that would be really interested in, like transfer gossip and all of that stuff.
I still remember saying, I'll delete, because I'd find an article in the same thing, but two different newspapers, and I'd end up deleting the one that was just pretty much a duplicate, but one would read better, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But yeah, anyway, getting back to it, there was a guy on that.
Right dice.
There was a guy on that, I'm sure it was Andrew something from Adelaide, and I remember him writing to me. I'm sure they said he was going to Tokyo, he was going to set up a CSC in Tokyo. Now I don't know if it was already there when he got there, but I can still remember him saying, I think it was more or less take me off the mailing list, I'll get in touch with you when I get to Tokyo and all. But anyway, I don't know if he ever actually got there. Maybe
well, I know the Tokyo CSC that I was at had been going since the 80s. It's been there for a long time.
Okay, well maybe he was going to join them, but I vaguely remember him saying he was going to set up a CSC there, but seemed like a nice fella. I'd never met, probably, I think all that mailing list I probably only met about 5 people. But yeah, I was always curious whether he actually got there and whether he actually did set up a supporters club. So, but I guess they were pretty big during the Nakamura days, but probably the same as everyone. Just getting on to something you were saying before about the build up to it and stuff like that, and all of a sudden there's an interest in it. for people back home, be under no illusions that folk outside of Scotland, maybe UK, but certainly outside of Scotland, do not give a flying monkeys about Scottish football. And this whole thing about Celtic needing Rangers and Rangers, Scottish football needing Rangers, and it is bold. It actually pains me to say it, but if it's not a Celtic Rangers game, people outside of Scotland don't care. Now, because you won't hear all of a sudden after a couple of soccer fans at work actually coming up and saying to me about the game this weekend, and they would not have spoken to me about Scottish football in years. And all of a sudden, you get that one game, and it's a talking point. So it pains me to say it, but
again,
that's what people want to see, and what's what people want to talk about. They don't want to see Celtic and Motherwell. They genuinely don't. And people, they can try and talk about selling Scottish football around the world and having it available everywhere. If there's no Celtic Rangers games, you ain't going to sell anything. You don't have a product to sell. So as I said, I don't like saying that, but that's certainly the feeling from over here.
I think that's spouted by, and it's symptomatic of the way that the Scottish mainstream media and the UK media kind of sell it as well, because they push this myth out there that it's such a big game and all the rest of it as well. It's what hasn't helped Scottish football is that there is this kind of belief that it's got to be Celtic, Sevco, and I read an article as well. In fact, I flicked on to you boys last night. It was James Forrest who writes some excellent stuff on his blog, and it was this whole idea that Sevco, they're kind of coming back. They've managed to get promoted. They're coming back, and they'll help save Scottish football. And it was this ridiculous notion of, what do they mean save Scottish football? Scottish football has been, in terms of a competition. Now, we as Celtic fans can say all we want about it, and we've said it before, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't with Celtic. If you win the league at a canter, it's a pishy league and it's Scottish football shit and we need to get out. But as soon as you get a challenge from, like we've had the last two seasons from Aberdeen, people shit themselves and they're calling for people's heads and all the rest of it. There's no credit given to the fact that there's a couple of teams that are actually making a fist of it and actually doing quite well. And personally speaking, see when Sevco do come, when they do come into the league, all joking aside, and I say this here, they'll find their place in that league, and they've got a chance if they perform as well as Hearts have done this season, who are in the exact same position. Let's face it, last season they won their league at a canter and they came up and they did okay, but they just couldn't come that step higher. I do think Sevco could come up, and they would be top four, and by that I mean fourth. That's my honest opinion as to where they'll finish next week. We'll win it next season. We'll win it again. I'm pretty certain Aberdeen will maintain their form. I'm pretty certain Hearts will as well, and I think they would be capable of beating the other teams round about them, and over the course of a season, with their big support and all the rest of it, yes, I think they could finish fourth. That's my honest view. But see this thing about they're coming to save Scottish football, and this is the thing that pisses me off about the way that it's portrayed by the Scottish media just now. It is a ridiculous notion, but they don't help that worldview that you're talking about, Pat, as well. It's because nobody tries to sell the product of Scottish football over there. English football was absolute bullshit until Sky long as well. Nobody, apart from your Man U's, your Liverpools, and all the rest of it. Now you've got bloody massive followings for Leicester City because they're doing okay, but it's not because that all these people that live in Asia are Leicester City diehards, born and bred. It's just because the way the EPL is marketed. They've got a big enough population in England to be able to do it, but that product is marketed worldwide and it's sold to countless TV channels. That's what's made that league what it is. Does Scottish football need Sevco? Does it? Fuck. It doesn't really. But if somebody had half a brain or a modicum of intelligence and said, deal with what we've got here, that team's not around, but we'll market the rest of the league and give it all the bloody nice promotional material you need, build it into something that maybe it's not. That's what Sky did. It took them years to do it, but they did it, and it's arguably, the biggest or most watched league in world football now. But don't tell me that people are crying out to see Southampton play fucking Sunderland every week. That's nonsense. Nonsense to suggest that that's so. Why couldn't that be like an Aberdeen versus Hearts game? Why couldn't that be as big as a Southampton versus Sunderland game? It's because it's not the way the SPFL is run.
Yeah, I know there is, but there's a hype element. But you also got to think that the product as well. These guys have got shed loads of money to spend on decent players. So you might not be watching the biggest club in the whole world, but when you've got 3, 4, 5 international players playing for them, that's what's going to get people's interest. People just do not care. Out with the actual Glasgow derby, nobody cares about Scottish football. You can try and sell it as much as you want, but there's going to be no demand for it. At the absolute best, Scottish football would be a filler for other games. The way it basically.
But see, when you're saying there's no demand for it, you're talking about people that have absolutely no interest in it whatsoever, right? It's like us saying there's a game on in the Zimbabwean Premier League. Do you want to watch it tonight? And we'd say the same thing. We'd say, nah, I can't be asked with that. But to say there's no interest in it outside of Scotland, well, you've got us for a starter. We've got Liam up in Japan. You're over in Melbourne, and here's me, and we're doing a fucking podcast talking about our team. He's certainly interested in anybody that's got links, as we said earlier on, their supporters clubs and all the rest of it. I get a thing about people outside, but you've got other people, like here as well, that couldn't give a toss about English Premier League either. You've got to remember. You know what I mean? People that will follow AFL or NRL over here, they couldn't really give a toss about soccer as such as well. So that's going to happen. So I wouldn't agree that it's their only interested in it. It's because there was a historical thing about it, and people have heard things about it, and maybe there's a little bit of interest shown that way. But to say it's like the be all and end all, like the Scottish mainstream media are trying to promote it as that, I think it's shocking, and it's very disrespectful to all the other teams.
You're breaking up a little bit, Kev, but I hear what you're saying. I just don't think there isn't a product to sell if you don't have the 4 big games, at least 4 big games a year. There's just nothing to sell to the neutral, to the soccer fan, Because it'll be interesting to see over here. I don't know, probably mention it at some stage, but BN Sports are the ones that have the rights to Scottish football. They've had. They've showed it for probably they took over Setanta probably about a year and a half ago, something like that. They've got one channel on cable TV, but all of a sudden they've announced that they're actually going to expand that to 3. So the Celtic games, if you wanted to watch them, if it was a game that was live on BT Sport or Sky back home, would be shown live here if there was nothing else on. But you would basically be overridden by things like a championship game, Brighton Hove Albion versus flipping Hull. They would show that before they'd show
sometimes that, and that's an example.
You know what I mean? So
well, not all the time, Pat. It depends. Sometimes that's what I'm saying. But you're right. For last week, that's right.
Yeah, for more often than not. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to watch the, inverted commas, the online version of BN Sports, which again is a bit of a pain when you've got venues, guys like yourself, showing the game on a big screen because you're at the behest of your internet connection. And if Pint on Punt, where we used to show it, Pint on Punt was above Pint on Punt was like a backpacker's place. So you had all the backpackers downloading all their movies and porn and all that sort of stuff upstairs, and you're trying to stream a game downstairs in the pub, and it's buffering every 30 seconds or so. So you're at the behest of the internet. Whereas if you actually got something that's on cable TV, you've got a better chance of watching a quality product. So we may or may not see Celtic games actually shown on genuine cable TV, not through a streamed sort of medium. And if that's the case,
I'm sure we will next season.
Well, in fact, they've got 3 channels. I mean, you can't be, if you've got Brighton and flipping Hull on one channel, surely Celtic and Motherwell or whatever will be on the second one. But the other thing is they don't show home games. Obviously, you don't get the luxury of if the game's not live in the UK somewhere, if it's not on Sky, if it's not on BT Sport, if it's not on BBC, something like that, it will not be shown live anywhere outside Scotland. I'm guessing.
Right.
There's no Celtic TV. You can't get. It's not sort of streamed by Celtic TV to any sort of TV channel. So you're really only getting away games, and you're depending on Celtic TV or a dodgy stream or something to watch the home game. So, I mean, and from our perspective, from our club, we're kind of the same as you guys. That all of a sudden we've got all this interest in a game. We're a bit different from you guys in terms of time zones and stuff, because like a 3 o'clock in the morning game over there would be most time of the year would be like 2 in the morning here. There's just no way of showing games at that sort of time. It's even hard like on a Sunday at flipping at midday or something like it's maybe 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. And most folk are going to be saying 11 o'clock Sunday night. I go and watch the game. I'm not going to go home until 1, half 1. The game finishes, get home. I'm up for work at 6, 7 in the morning. Stuff I'll just watch in the house. That's kind of a challenge, I guess.
So you're not going to the pub? Are you not going to the pub to watch it, or are you going to the pub to watch it?
I'm going to the pub. So basically, we have changed venue. I mean, you mentioned it a bit earlier. So Jockstein CSC that I'm a member of, and I'm not committee, but I'm one of the sort of the more active helpers in the club to just try to get things done. So we've changed venue. We're now moved to a pint on punt closed, which turned into like one of these kind of fancy boutique beer kind of places, and didn't want the whole, I guess, the clientele they had before. So it was, you find a lot of the backpackers upstairs. They were probably the majority would be Irish, so they'd basically be staying around the St Kilda area, and they would sort of frequent. Yeah, so but we'll have to sort of maybe shift on a bit. But anyway, so we've moved to a new venue called the Wee Chief, and it's a much smaller venue. So we've had to basically make this an all-ticket event, thinking we don't know how many is going to turn up. Is it going to be 20, 40, 100? But we've sold out every ticket for it. So we're sold out at the start.
How many tickets?
It's either some between 120, 150 gone.
Excellent.
So pretty much in a couple of days. So the interest is sort of is there, but I think that it was actually, from what I gathered, I didn't manage to get there, but it was they showed the game last week as well, the Motherwell game. It was a pretty good turnout for that as well, good atmosphere and stuff. So fingers crossed. It kind of works out for us, but the same as you guys. It's just like you sometimes think yourself, where are these people during the year? All of a sudden they come out. It's kind of like the old days when cup finals would happen.
I know, and it makes a mockery of when you get people like myself saying we don't really need them and all the rest of it, and then when a game like this comes up, it just shows you how many people still are only interested in seeing this kind of game, which frustrates the hell out of me a bit. But it's no more frustrating than when I heard all the stuff about people looking for tickets for the Scottish Cup games and then whinging because they hadn't been to the Stranraer game or the Morton game and all this stuff, and whinging that they weren't going to get a ticket for us. And again, it's the same thing that annoyed me, like when I'd be going to Celtic Park to watch a game against a Dundee or something like that, and there was only 40,000 at it. But then, this, when you've got a 60,000 capacity stadium there and it doesn't fill you, it's just, I guess, the type of, the people that go to the games understand this, and obviously I don't get to the games now, but I still go and I still watch Celtic every single week. And Eamon, you've made a point in the chat room there as well, saying that I thought if you got Celtic TV from outside the UK and Ireland that you can see home games. You can. I think the point Pat was making is you're reliant on having a good internet connection. So if you're in a pub, for example, and you're watching it on a massive screen, you've got to have a really good internet connection for it to be a worthwhile picture. We certainly, in the Mandra CSC, we broadcast every single game live that's on a Saturday or a Sunday anyway. We don't do the midweek games, obviously, because it's 2:45 in the morning. But in Murphy's in the Mandra CSC, we'll show every game. And it's either Celtic TV or beIN Sports on the television channel itself, or as Pat suggested as well, it's a beIN Sports Connect, which is an online channel. So yeah, we do get to see all the games, Eamon, over here. We're fortunate in that respect. But yeah, it just depends on your broadband connection or your internet speed to see how good it is. So Eamon also says a big thank you to the Jockstein CSC for the stuff, Pat.
Yeah,
must have sent him stuff.
We did. Colin, he actually asked me. I should send a message. I do apologise. I was meant to go into it, but Colin Turnbull sent some stuff to Eamon to take back to Scotland. He's heading back there, I think, for a little while. So
very good.
Just returning the favour. I think the Eamon helped us out when we did a fundraiser for one of our members who was pretty ill. Eamon helped out a lot by getting some stuff brought over from Scotland. So it was very kind of him, and hopefully Colin sort of repaid him and sent a few things over. I'm not sure what sort of merchandise we have at the moment, but so hopefully he's kind of. Well, I know he has sent stuff over, but hopefully it's enough, Eamon, and it's good enough to take to the folk back home. So anyway, I think we should probably move on to the game on Sunday. Let's get on to the.
Yeah, because I need to wrap this up anyway, because I've got an airport run I need to do. It's an hour drive away, and I've got to go and pick up the missus and wee Neve. They've been over in Canberra and Sydney on a school trip, would you believe?
Oh, nice.
So I've got to go and pick them up, man. So let's get down to the predictions. Liam, what's your thoughts on Sunday then? We've been building up to this, I guess, and we've got our views. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty and the bones of it. What's your score predictions for Sunday?
4-1, but they're going to score first.
A bold prediction. Aye. So who's our goal scorers? We won't bother with their goal scorers because none of us know who plays for them. But,
right.
But in terms of our goals...
I'll say Griffiths is going to get 2.
Anyway,
that's the only one I know. And what's the guy left back? Wallace. That guy.
So I'll say that.
Sorry.
Right. I'll say Griffiths is going to get 2, and hopefully we start with that young boy Roberts, and he'll get 2 as well.
Oh yes. I'd settle for that nicely. Patrick, what about your own thoughts, mate? Score predictions.
I've been sort of swaying. You know, part of me's going, it's a Glasgow derby, and it's, you know, if guys like Larsson and that kind of take 7 off them, then we're not going to be able to do it. And so I don't know. I think there's a. I guess I'll say this with a proviso. I think provided we keep 11 men on the park, I think we'll spank them. The thing I fear is that there's going to be an unknown. There's going to be a sending off, or there's going to be, you know, Griffiths will get hammered in the first 5 minutes and, you know, carried off injured and all that sort of stuff. So, provided it's 11 against 11, it doesn't even have to be the best park and all, as long as it's a relatively half decent. I was checking the weather the other day, and it didn't seem as if there was going to be rain in Glasgow, but that may have changed. Who knows? But in terms of score, I don't know. I hadn't really thought about that even that far. I'm going to go for will they score? Will they score? I'll say they'll score. Right, we'll go for 3-1 then.
Oh, for Christ's sake! Right, what about the goal scorers then? Who's going to score their goal? Do you know? One of the only players.
I don't know any of the players.
Oh, him.
Yeah, one of the midfielders. Joe Bloggs, that guy there.
So who's getting ours then? Paul Rush agrees with you in the chat room. He reckons 3-1 as well.
Griffiths will definitely get one of them. Roberts, I hope, gets one. And there'll be... who's going to get this? There's going to be a midfielder, I reckon. We'll go for Bruni. Yeah, well, let's go for Bruni. Bruni will score. One of them's going to be an overhead kick.
Go with what Alistair Jack's predicting then.
Yeah, one will be an overhead kick.
As usual, yes.
Yep. And my prediction is, I'd reckon, I was actually tempted to put money on this. You know, I'm not a betting man, but somebody will get sent off.
If somebody's getting sent off, it'll be Bruni or Kieran Tierney.
Well,
Tierney for just making it a really good, strong tackle and then making a meal of it, and the bloody ref sending him off. It's Craig Thompson's the ref, remember? He's a bit of a bastard.
Well,
as a lot of them are, but he's one of the real bastards.
In that case, you'd say don't play Kazim Richards in. Because I think if there's any risk to somebody getting sent off...
No matter, the referee could be bloody Pope Francis, and Kazim Richards would probably deserve to be sent off. Because he's a fucking clown of a man. He should have been sent off against Motherwell, but I wouldn't have him near the squad on Sunday, Kazim Richards. He's an imposter.
Not impressed, Kevin?
An absolute imposter. Oh, Jesus, man. He's an imposter. He's not a footballer. He's certainly not a striker. He's not a footballer either, the guy. Right, and he's just a big... He's a thug.
Take Sunday's game against Motherwell then, right? Take Saturday, the game against Motherwell. Right, so you're saying don't play Kazim Richards. Who takes his place then? So I'm assuming, unless we get through the whole team.
Well, I'm one of these guys that, unlike thousands and millions of others, believe that I understand the system when we play with this so-called one up front. It's not one up front. When you've got the ball, you've got attacking midfielders that are effectively your other strikers. So forget about their midfielders. They're goal scorers is what you're looking for. So this idea of having to play another striker, you don't need a Kazim Richards. When we've got the ball, we should have 3 people attacking. That's the way. If you look at Bayern Munich, that's the way they play it. If you look at, there's plenty of other teams that do it that way. So that's what I was reading. Again, this shows you how bad it is. Frank McAvenny getting rolled out and asked for his opinion, the mastermind that he is, and he's coming out with that bullshit again. You've got to play with 2 strikers. When we've got the ball, what I would suggest is that we still don't know how to play this system properly, like the really good teams do. But we need to stop thinking about you're a midfielder or you're an attacker. You're a goal scorer. It's goal scorers you need, so you can have that one player up front supported by another 2 when you're attacking and got the ball. So effectively, you could or should have 3 goal scoring players.
Right. Well, I know we're not going to do it.
Players, unfortunately, they can play that position.
You're breaking up there, Kev. So, I'm going to do this because I know we don't want to get through the. This is my team then, right? I'll probably end up with 12 players, no doubt. So obviously, Gordon in goal. You go for Lustig right back. Tierney left back because he's a flipping star. I'd still stick with Boyata and Mulgrew in the middle. I think they've looked alright. I would have...
Is Sviatchenko definitely out?
I don't know. I wouldn't risk him bringing him back. That's for me. It's one of those ones, that's one of those the kind of unknown things. If you put him on at the start and he goes off after 5 minutes, that's your one sub. You're effectively an extra half a man down, if you know what I mean. As in, you've only got 2 subs after that. So I'll put him on the bench maybe, but I wouldn't risk him personally. And Boyata, to be fair, I reckon Boyata looks alright when Mulgrew's in there. For some reason, Mulgrew brings a bit of stability, a bit of calmness about it.
They did not bad last week. I have to admit, I was a bit worried with Charlie at the back again there, but I think they did. We defended not too bad last week.
Yep. Well, I think in the past few weeks, we haven't really conceded the sort of massive amount, but I mean they've ridden the luck a little bit, but they've done all right. Anyway, I know you're trying to sort of get away. So this is my team, right? Yep. You can agree or disagree. Right? So those 4 at the back. I'd have Brown, Beaton, Paddy Boy.
Absolutely.
I'd have Johansson as well. I'd have Griffiths up front. For this game. Griffiths up front with Rogic behind him. There's my team.
No room for Commons?
No, he hasn't played enough.
Not even just with it. It hasn't, but again, it's that whole... He's got the experience, he knows what this fixture is all about. He scored against him last time.
I'll be honest,
there is a case for him. I
agree. I reckon up to probably the Partick game. I think it's probably the last time I remember seeing. There's been 1 or 2 games I haven't seen the whole thing, but I reckon they wanted to get him prepared for the game, but I don't think he performed well enough to warrant a place in the starting lineup. That's my take on it. I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the bench, like a kind of pinch hit a little bit.
Impact player.
Yep. Yeah. But I just reckon so. Probably out of last week, Kazim Richards is out. It'd either be Rogic or it'd be McGregor. One of the 2 come back. I wouldn't put Armstrong in there. I just don't think Armstrong's in form. But for me, Rogic or McGregor to replace Kazim Richards from last week. Probably Rogic. I think he's in good touch at the moment. So, and he's my boy.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree, but I don't think you're too far. I hope you're not too far off the mark with that selection, actually. I think it'd be pretty decent.
You got a bit of steel. You got Johansson, you got Brown, and got Beaton in there with a bit of steel. But you also got outlet.
Rush has said there's no Johansson. He must be injured.
Is that right?
Yeah, he must be.
All right.
Unless Paul's just saying he disagrees, he doesn't want Johansson, but I don't know. I think Johansson would be pretty decent in a game like this for us, actually. A bit of steel, a bit of grit. But
that's what I'm saying. You've got an outlet in terms of Griffiths, Rogic and Roberts. Maybe a little bit with Beaton, not quite to the same extent. You get Tierney pushing forward as well. So you got a bit of an outlet in a few places, but you also got a bit of, a little bit of stability at the back. You've got sort of, a bit of steel in the middle, but to be fair, Brown's been absolutely minced recently as well, hasn't he?
He's been poor, but he's shaved his head now, so he's going to have a blinder on Sunday.
I reckon he's going for the Bruni number 2. That's why I was saying he'll score.
Aye.
Just because he shaved his head in preparation for it.
Well, I reckon, boys, it's going to be a 2-0 victory for Celtic. Same score as the last time we met this team. And I reckon it's going to be. I think it's going to be not quite as comfortable as it was last year when we played this mob, because I think they have definitely improved from the team that we beat last year. But they're still. Don't believe the hype in the bloody media back home. Just don't read the shit. Don't. It's a team that are playing a division beneath us. They're still not a patch on us. There's no way. They're not used to playing teams of our quality. They haven't played a team of our quality since the last time we played them, probably. So don't believe the shit. We should beat them. And again, I'll just go for a 2-0. Fairly comfortable, but not as comfortable as last year, and it'll be wee Griff, and I'm hoping wee Paddy Roberts gets on the score sheet as well. He is the guy, I think, folks, that could be the match winner for us, because I think he could tear them a new arse if he gets enough of the ball. I honestly think he could destroy their defence. From what I've heard, they've got a poor defence, and their biggest strength is going forward. So as long as we are ready for that and we can pin them back and have wee Paddy running at them, I think it could be a lot of fun viewing on Sunday.
I'll tell you it would be an even better outcome, I reckon. If you get... See the shot that Kieran Tierney hit against Motherwell at the weekend there? He hit an absolute stonker that the keeper saved. See if something like that comes off and he scores against the Huns. Oh my God. I reckon the place will... I know where we are, the place will explode. That guy is a flipping star. He's brilliant. He's one of us, and I just reckon he will just. He'll probably self-combust if he scores against them. He'll just blow up, gone. That's like with excitement. He'll run right up to their supporters. He'll jump in the middle of the bastards, and anyway, it'll be fun.
I've just got a text from Stevie Fallon. So Stevie's back in Scotland now, but he sent us a picture. So this is in the works, so they must have the old dress down Friday, and I'm surprised this is allowed because I'm sure he's working with the bank again. But Stevie sent me this picture. I'll tweet it out later, but I need to get at the fucking airport. He says, Kev, thought you'd enjoy this. Friday before the Newco game, and one of the wee Indian guys in the office has got the hoops proudly on display, gloriously unaware of the crescendo of gnashing teeth from the apoplectic zomboids all around him. Truly great days. It's classic, Stevie. I'm going to tweet that out, mate, when I get the chance, because it is. I'm surprised he's even allowed in. He'll get huckled out. He's working in the bank, so he'll get huckled out. But there he is, sitting on the old computer with the hoops on, glorious. Fair play, yes, sir. That's a cracker. Anyway, right, boys, I honestly do need to go because I've got a long drive ahead of me, and my darling beloved says we'll be arriving on a plane, and I need to be there at the airport, or there'll be wailing and gnashing of teeth. So, yes, so the good news is we're all going for a Celtic victory over evil. I hope we all enjoy it. I hope we all stay safe. And any final words, Patrick, before we wrap it up?
No, I don't think so. Next time we'll try and get some stuff on. We do have to mention Huddle Down Under at some stage, so we'll hopefully maybe get somebody. Absolutely. That's kind of a gathering of Celtic fans in Australia. It's happening in June this year. Kev kindly sorted out hotels for us the other day, so Flights are booked, hotels are booked, Charlie and the boys
All
are booked,
sorted, and
George
it's in-
McCluskey's booked, everybody's booked. It's all ready to go.
Mhm. It's all ready to go, and it's in Perth this year as well. So we'll definitely speak a lot more about that in upcoming shows, and there will be more upcoming shows. Hopefully, we don't have to wait so long for the next one. But thank you, Pat. Liam, have you got anything that you'd like to sign off with, mate, or any bits of news?
I'll just leave you with a wee thing I was pondering today, right? About how this whole thing, how we've got to the point we're at now, right? So think about this. If someone would have said to you 4 or 5 years ago, I'm going to write a soap opera about the death of Rangers, right? They could not have written it any better than how it's actually played out. Rangers like to sing God Save the Queen. It's the fucking HMRC that put them under, right?
Very true, very true.
The last two owners they ever had before they died were green and white. The last player that ever signed was called Mervyn Selleck.
Very true.
And even now, they're all pinning their hopes of salvation on a guy who's got more tax convictions than I've had hot dinners. It just could not get any better.
It could not get any better, Liam. Well said, sir. That's a nice note to sign off on. Mate.
Yeah.
Okay, lads. Here's to a great victory for the glorious Celtic over Evil on Sunday, and we'll speak to you all again soon. Hail, hail. And thanks to everybody that was leaving some mentions. Thanks to everybody that left mentions and was in the chat room and on speaker. Too many to mention, but thanks, lads. Hail, hail.
Cheers, boys.
Oh, the Rangers are shite. 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 Well, the end's almost here. It's a taxman they fear. They've got no money left after years of their theft. It was clear to us all that the Rangers would fall. There's not a team they could beat without their lies and deceit. Oh, the Rangers are shite. 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 The glory days have all passed, and their debt's rising fast. We know the taxman will still be coming over the hill. They think your saviour's in sight. They're called Paul Murray's Blue Knights. They say the club will survive if Valley gives up their pies. Oh, the Rangers are shite. 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 Let the party begin. As a Celtic they win. Raise your glasses high as we watch their club die. A tainted title they said as they looked on with dread at her manager smile as her team win with style. Oh, the Rangers are shite. Oh, the Rangers are shite. Oh, the Rangers are shite. Oh, Oh, the Rangers are shite. 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 Oh, the Rangers are shite.
On the hoops.